Hello everyone, welcome to today's news starter. Let's begin with a prelims practice question of the day. All right, so let's take a look at this question. Mush Pudiji, an indigenous rice variety distinguished by its rich aroma and unique taste. Whenever you are getting such questions, you should understand that you should have read all the facts and details that appear in newspaper. Generally, such questions are asked based on current affairs only. If there is any particular artisanal material or if there is any particular flora or fauna that appears in news, you have to at least know where it is located or in which kind of region this particular species or product is used. So, Mushk Budiji is a rice variety that is available in Jammu and Kashmir, and it has a very unique and very rich aroma, due to which it is very famous. Now, do we have to study about the details of its aroma, which chemicals cause all this aroma and everything? You don't have to. At least know where it is from. So that's the basics you need to know. Let's start with the topic of the day: Agreement on Investment Facilitation for Development, that is IFD. Agreement on Investment Facilitation has been a discussed and negotiated topic in the World Trade Organization regularly. Even in the 13th Ministerial Conference, which happened recently in Abu Dhabi, this was discussed, but it was not adopted because countries such as India and South Africa opposed it. What exactly is Agreement on Investment Facilitation for Development, that is IFD? At present, the WTO has the agreement on trade, it has the agreement on goods, it has the agreement on services also, but it does not have any agreement on investment. That is, when a country invests in another country, what measures should be followed? What are all the mechanisms that should be in place? These kind of things. So there is no specific agreement until now, but around 120 countries of the total 160 members of WTO has backed that we need a proper investment facilitation for development agreement. But India is still opposing it. The agreement aims to create a legally binding provision to facilitate investment flows. So why India is against it? Why India doesn't want this agreement to come into force in this form? So there are certain reasons which we will study about it. The IFD agreement will require states to augment the regulatory transparency, because if the IFD come into force, it will tell what kind of mechanism should be followed by the countries. So at present, India has different mechanisms with different investment partners. Once this agreement comes into force, we will have to follow the things that are mentioned in that agreement. That is one thing. It will also tell you to streamline the administrative procedures. It has its own advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is it will help in developing ourselves as a better administrative territory. But the disadvantages, we won't be able to do it according to our own wish. It does not contain provision on market access. So this is a big problem. What is market access? When a country is a member of WTO, it needs to give access to the goods from other countries also. That is called as market access. Equal access for domestic and foreign products. So this market access is not included in investment facilitation for development. So this is a very big disadvantage which India is against. Investment protection is also not included. So if a country is investing in another country, what are all the protection measures you can guarantee for the investment? So that is missing. Investor state dispute settlement mechanism is also missing. Investor state dispute mechanism means if a foreign company comes in India and then invest in India, if there is a problem, that company can file a case against uh, against anyone in an Indian court. So that is investor state dispute settlement. So there is no mechanism for this also. So these are all considered to be serious disadvantages which India is raising in the WTO. So these things should be known for your mains examination. One very significant and very important problem here is we are not sure whether the WTO can facilitate investment. Is it under the ambit of WTO to facilitate investment? It can facilitate goods trade, it can facilitate services, but does it have enough power uh, to regulate investment? So that is a question which is yet to be answered. So, in case if you get a question about investment facilitation for development in mains, you can make use of this points. Moini Atam was in news today. It is a very important topic from art and culture point of view. From prelims perspective, it is very important. Why this was in news? Because the Kerala Kala Mandalam, which is the University for Arts and Culture of the state of Kerala, has opened its door to boys also to learn Mohini Atam. It is a dance which was performed and learned only by female. At present, it has been provided the permission to for the boys to come and learn the art. So it originated in the state of Kerala. We need to know the basics of this dance form because it is one of the most important classical dance forms in India. So it is a dance that is performed by women in honor of the Hindu god Vishnu. There is a legend which tells that Vishnu at some point was incarnated in the form of an enchantress called as Mohini. So, in order to uh, give credits to the god Vishnu, this particular dance form was started. It was exclusively done by women until now. Now it will be done by men also. The dance projects the essence of feminine grace. It is a very graceful dance. It doesn't have any vigorous and fast movements. It has very small and very slow, feminine, graceful movements. It is noted for Shringara Rasa. Shringara Rasa is a kind of an emotion which shows the divine love. Mohiniyattam is characterized by graceful swaying of the body movements. No abrupt movement will be there. It belongs to Lasya style of feminine, tender, and graceful dance form. So these basics should be known. You can get question on any classical dance forms at any time. It's very important. India-Taiwan relationship is important. In the recent times, the relationship between China and Taiwan has been depreciating. It has been down since the beginning, but in the recent times, it has become very bad. So we need to know where India stands first, and the most important point we need to know is India doesn't have a formal diplomatic ties with Taiwan. India doesn't have formal ties with Taiwan, but it has a quid pro quo ties. That is, uh, from the perspective of economy, if we need anything, we will get it from them. From the perspective of trade, if you need something, you get it from them. But we do not maintain a formal relationship with Taiwan because India in 1950 itself agreed for one China policy. Taiwan has people who came out of China against the dictatorship of China, and they established a separate country called as Taiwan. But several other countries does not accept it. China places this as a very important point to any country that has a strategic relationship with it, that to have good relationship with China, you cannot accept Taiwan as a separate country. So India doesn't approve of it. India doesn't have formal diplomatic ties, but in the recent times specifically, India's relationship has been better with Taiwan. The second thing which you need to know is the uh, map of Taiwan. Taiwan is located here to the east of China. It is an island country. To the north of Taiwan, we have East China Sea. To the south of Taiwan, we have the South China Sea. And to the south of Taiwan, the country that is present in the south of Taiwan is Philippines. To the north of it is Japan. So at least this much you need to know. So talking about the relationship of India and Taiwan, the trade relationship, India's trade relationship with Taiwan has increased 7 times since 2001, and we have been talking about a free trade agreement also, so it is on the high. India's scientific relationship with Taiwan is that we have already signed a memorandum of understanding on scientific and technological cooperation with Taiwan. Taiwan is extremely good in research and development. It is very good in manufacturing electronics. It is extremely good in manufacturing semiconductors, and that is why Taiwan has a very good economic resources because of its development in electronics. So at present, 26 Taiwan educational centers are present in Indian universities. So there is educational relationship also. Taiwan India Parliamentary Friendship Forum has been established. That is also there. Taiwan at present produces 60% of world semiconductor and 90% of advanced semiconductor, and India has launched its semiconductor mission. This shows that if India and Taiwan has good relationship, we can easily import technologies from Taiwan, which will help India in developing itself as a semiconductor global hub. About sustainable buildings or climate friendly buildings, building methods that uh, do not cause emissions, we need to have a good idea. The important schemes which the government has framed in this perspective should be known, because you can get such questions in mains examination. Three important points you need to know. First one is the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. The most important method India took in this perspective is passing of Energy Conservation Act. In 2001, India passed the Energy Conservation Act, and because of Energy Conservation Act, we created the Bureau of Energy Efficiency also, which takes care of energy efficiency. So the Bureau of Energy Efficiency gives the star rating for the devices. Bureau of Energy Efficiency provides codes and regulations to maintain, uh, to make sure the energy conservation is happening in the country. So these things should be known. The second most important point is making buildings sustainable. So two kinds of buildings are there. One is the residential building. Second one, commercial buildings. Eco Nivas Samhita is for a residential building. It provides codes which should be maintained for residential buildings so that residential buildings become energy efficient. Second, we have Energy Conservation Building Code, the ECBC. Energy Conservation Building Code is for commercial building. What standards commercial buildings has to follow so that they become energy efficient. One important point of which you can make use in your mains examination, it is about the tuberculosis. India TB report 2024 was released by the Union Health Ministry. It has told that the incidence of tuberculosis in India has declined by 16% since 2015. In the last 8 years, 8 or 9 years, we have made sure that the amount of tuberculosis incidence is declined by 16 percentage, and the amount of death, that is mortality, has declined by 18 percentage. So you need to remember it. One important technology which you need to know from prelims point of view is about autoclaved aerated concrete. How a concrete is made. A concrete is made using cement, coarse aggregate and fine aggregate. Fine aggregate is sand, coarse aggregate is big stones. We mix all these things with cement and sand and water in particular proportion. We put the reinforced steel inside it, and then we make the concrete block. So there is no gap inside it. It will be of high density so that the strength will be very high. But the problem is it is very high conductivity. It has high conductivity of heat, due to which the buildings become hot. So we have come up with a technology called as autoclaved aerated concrete. In aerated concrete, what happens is there will be small bubbles of air inside the concrete, so that the concrete will be lesser in weight, but its strength will be the same. And because of the hollow air pockets inside the concrete, it will not have high conductivity of heat. So this is the basic idea of autoclaved aerated concrete. The most important details which you need to know has been provided here in this slide. You can go through it and you can get a good idea about it. This type of concrete contains 80% air. This point is very important. Try to remember it. 80% air is present in it. It is very light material and it has good thermal insulation. And like all other cement-based material, it is strong and resistant to fire. So these points should be known because you can get a question in prelims examination from science and technology point of view. So that will be all for today. All the best. Study well. Let's meet tomorrow.